Should we move on to a specific Felix question?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hello, everybody. Long time listener, first time caller here. So this question's mostly for Felix. So Conor McGregor's kind of been reasserting himself in Ireland recently. He did an episode of the Tucker Carlson show in our Freemason Lodge in Dublin, and he's now, of course, running for president. To what extent is this kind of percolated into the MMA community, and are they fond of him? Are they not?
That was from Wolf Tone.
Yeah, and he does have a wolf tone. I would like you to narrate the movie about my life. Wow, what a great voice. So I've been following MMA a bit more closely than I had in the previous few years before that, owing to many of the great MMA documentarians and video creators on YouTube, like Beige Frequency, Napoleon Blown Apart. Too many great ones to name, but those are just the guys I've been watching the most of with MMA. So I hate to disappoint you, Wolf Tones, but would it shock you that the consensus in the MMA community is, I don't think Conor did those horrible acts to all those women, but if he did, we weren't there. It was probably fine. So they think he's, his reputation as a fighter is not as good now as it was, even during the Nate Diaz fights, even before the final Khabib fight, when Khabib turned his leg to fucking a slinky. But people broadly support it because he's aligned with Trump. It's an anti-immigrant thing. He says, if anyone's going to do horrible things to this country, to women in this country, it's going to be me. And they also think, I follow a lot of Irish people. I know a lot of Irish people online. And obviously being the president of Ireland is much different than being the president of the United States. It's sort of, this is a sloppy comparison, but it's more like being the president pro tempore of the U.S. Senate, where you are elected by other people in the federal government and not a popular vote. And obviously, Conor was declared ineligible for this. And the MMA's community response was, we need to do January 6th over there. They did the steal to Conor. So I hate to disappoint, but they probably already think he's president. It is not a smart bunch.
Well, in conjunction with Wolftone's question, and by the way, I love all your songs, Mr. Wolftones.
Yeah.
A nation once again.
Through the foggy dew.
Yeah. Armored cars and tanks and guns. All right. No, my question for you, Felix, is what would you make of my contention that the UFC has become the strongest force of like soft cultural power for the right wing in this country, and particularly for Donald Trump?
Oh yeah, I think again, this is going off of what I heard on Regime Radio last night. I would say Joe Rogan himself is probably the strongest right now of right wing cultural power. But the UFC is a pretty close second, and obviously they sort of they rose together, right? It's very strange, right? Because my fandom dropped off when the UFC decided they wanted to be seen as a normal sport, like the NFL. And then you go away for a while, you vaguely follow it, you come back, and it's more popular than ever. But also, like, the official company statements are like, black people have another crime bone in their body. And you're like, what the fuck? What? Like Dana White was never like a good guy, but he was never, he didn't, this wasn't like an expressly partisan product, at least in this way. Yeah, no, it's completely changed the cultural image of it. It's more mainstream than ever, but also like permanently a sort of social political totem. And in America, where Trump is no longer the guiding force of conservatism after he dies, what is that going to look like? Who fucking knows?